kind of experiential knowledge he had going into this particular competition and in the essay, because a lot of the things students from Accra would write or say or know is basically what they've heard their teachers say. But in the north, they are literally experiencing the effects of climate change, right? I had a friend who went to the north and said that, see, the sun hits different there.
It does.
You know, and you could clearly tell that crops are not, you know, crop yield is reducing and all of that. So it stands to reason that
every year after the Heritage Caravan, you see that when people come back, the color has changed, regardless. I intentionally bought the biggest straw hat I could find when we got to Tamale, just to shield me from the sun. And it's not so much the sun as it is the extreme heat. Like, you feel it all around you. That big, humongous hat I bought, straw hat I bought, did absolutely nothing for
when
the
you're on
sun.
the caravan, right?
Yes, and I bought what do we call it? The screen skin whatever.
All of that.
We came back.
All of that didn't work.
It came back and people were like, wash you. Like, what's the point? But yeah. Congratulations to Adongo Atinga.
Adongo Atinga.
Adongo Atinga.
What does, you know what the N stands for?
No, I do not. Maybe they can tell us.
I'm interested in knowing what is that. And of course, I mean, he emerged winner, but of course, I'm Duncan. You know, my namesake, Bishop Bauer School.
Today you're claiming your namesake.
Oh.
Yesterday you issued a disclaimer.
Yesterday I said I wasn't related to her. But it doesn't change the fact that she's my namesake.
She's a Duncan.
You know, and also Eduji Kofi Yebowo, who is from Covenant Presby School. I hear that name a lot when the literacy challenge.
Covenant?
Presby School, yeah.
Yeah, that and Jari International.
Yeah, and I think, is it, the other one is Silicon?
Silicon, yes. Silicon Valley, yeah.
So shout outs to these guys for, you know, making their school proud, making their family proud.
Yeah.
And very importantly, making themselves proud. And of course, our sponsors, Belmu and GB Assessment, for the support in making this a reality. You know, I'm so happy that it went very well and happened successfully.
Adongo Atinga, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. All right, I think it's a good time to go into our newspapers. Well, online, today being Sunday. I'm on ChannelOneNewsOnline.com. ChannelOneNewsOnline.com. Some of the stories you'll find on our portal. GPRTU threatens nationwide strike August 20 over Pokwase in Sawam Road. Gamashi marks Homowo with calls for youth development. NPP grants amnesty to suspended members, calls for discipline. Adongo Atinga crowned winner of 2025 Literacy Challenge. Nidine Odeon.
Yeah.
Tema set for 3,000 new LED street lights to boost security. Other stories you'll find on Channel One News Online portal. Galamsey, 3 Chinese arrested, 2 excavators seized at Achim Abam. Franklin Kujo, military must ensure full transparency in helicopter crash probe. Professor Ajakum, crash victims honored, but families mustn't be forgotten. Political interests undermining fight against Galamsey, a security consultant says so. Administrative delays keeping Sir Obama Pokwase in custody. That's according to their lawyer.
You know, I had a lawyer on CNN and he said that, Charlie Ghana, you're an interesting bunch. He said that, of course, all the persons who had a role to play in ensuring that the bill requirement or the bill for his client is adhered to were at the state's funeral of the helicopter crash. So they were not in the office to perform administrative duties. For each reason, his clients
are going to stay in jail till Monday.
So everybody in the police service, or, you know, like, are there no deputies? Are there no, like, other... Everybody
was at the Black Star Square.
You know, it's serious. And
I can imagine what's going through your mind. When I said it, I was like, really? Okay, because he said, oh, they have met the bill conditions, but they're supposed to inspect them and all of that, and none of them were available.
Yeah, see, I feel what some of these persons did, for each reason they were arrested and also questioned, right? Are completely responsible. Some of the comments they passed, absolutely unnecessary. And if the law finds them in breach of it, they should face the full rigor of the law. I completely agree. But the law is also the law, right? So once they've met bill requirements, keeping them beyond their expected stay in police custody for me is also wrong, right? So
it's like you're punishing them.
Yeah,
in a way.
So I found it quite worrying, the circumstances under which these persons are still in police custody. I know you had some more stories.
Yes, I do. On ChannelOneNewsOnline.com, some of the trending stories you'll find there. 37 new Mpox cases recorded, total now 409. I don't think we're taking this Mpox seriously. We'll delve into that a bit later. Other stories, Galamsey, 3 Chinese arrested, 2 excavators seized. Zelensky to meet Trump on Monday after summit with Putin ends without deal. Use mine waste for construction to curb sand winning. And those are some of the stories on ChannelOneNewsOnline.com.
CityNewsroom.com. Pokwa in Salm Road, contractors must return to site or we strike. This is coming in from the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, popularly referred to as GPRTU. Also here, only 800 radiographers serving over 30 million Ghanaians. Ghana Health Service confirms 37 new Mpox cases, total now 409, like you earlier brought us. I am a satisfied dad, and guess who is speaking? The father of Adongo Atinga, winner of the 2025 edition of the Literacy Challenge. 5 dead in fatal accident at Isuboy on the Kumasi-Accra Highway. Also here, GB assessment, sponsorship of Literacy Challenge reflects our mission in education. Ibi Bright is in the news as she announces government's plan to install 3,000 LED streetlights in Tema. Now, Ghana's defense mechanism systematically in decline. That's coming in from Imani Africa President Franklin Kujo. He made these comments or remarks on the Big Issue show yesterday with Selom Adongo. Traders renew calls for the completion of the Odona and Malam markets, and Gamashi celebrates Homowo in full splendor.
I've never been to Homowo.
We did see videos of, a very ecstatic, what's the word? It was like a sea of youth, running down the streets in Jamestown, chanting Ga songs. And if you go to Ga communities, they have their own kind of musical.
I think they increased the BPM, the beats per minute.
Yeah.
Because they like the
energetic Jamestown, very traditional Ga community. They don't listen to the kind of songs
we listen to.
Like there's a whole booming music scene, and they have like their own stars. Like they know them. Oh mama bako, oh papa, that kind of music. And there are so many stars, like music stars, but it's just at that level.
Okay.
And when you go there, it's like they have their own version of their Sarkodie, they have their own version of their Shatawale, and they jump to the music in their own special way.
See.
You should have seen the video of them. A sea.
Is it on Twitter?
Yeah, I saw it on social media. I don't remember which platform. I think TikTok or something. And they were just jamming to Ghana music.
I need to see it.
Homowo is in
full
season.
swing. I think somewhere in my area they'd stop you and they were doing cleanup exercise and we'll be asking or give them something small. And I told them, I can't. Are you done?
The other stories here you already mentioned.
Okay.
So,
all right, so let me take you to graphiconline.com. Some of the stories you'll find, TikTok threats case, Hairdresser granted 150,000 Ghana cedi bail over alleged death threats against Mahama. Name Sandema military barracks after squadron leader Peter Anala builds a traditional council. Mother burns son for losing pen. Stakeholders urged to invest in educational programs. Let's uphold peace during Homowo. Ablekuma North MCE says so. UG in Kabum initiative to empower youth launched. Sapon endeared himself to grassroots. That's according to the NDC. Ghana pays $1 million to keep students at University of Memphis. Are mangoes good for diabetes? An Indian studies challenge. Those are some of the stories you'll find on graphiconline.com.
Edo, the News Center online portal is reporting the story around the Mpox already brought to you. 37 new cases total now at 409. Also here, 3 Chinese nationals arrested for galamsey. They go on to do, editorial pieces on all 8 of the victims in that tragic helicopter crash. So it's also on the news center. Some other stories here. Tokonu filed 10,000 frivolous cases and lost all. Vomawo, Oliver, Baka, Vomawo, jobs reinstatement. And also here, government to shut down DSTV over regulatory breach by September 6th. If, and there are 3 dots, you can find more in that story. And there's a big argument in the showbiz space because Fameye, Ghanaian musician Fameye, stirred controversy when he said in an interview that Daddy Lumba is greater than Michael Jackson. And we were like, hey, you are all morning, but be careful. How can you tell me the story?
But that's his opinion.
Yeah, but your opinion, you can have an opinion, and meanwhile, and your opinion can be, for want of a better word, trash, right? So we beg you. I mean, we all love Daddy Lumba, right? But let's be guided. Let's be guided.
I don't want to do this debate because I love them both equally, especially Michael. Michael!
Yeah.
All right.
So these are the big stories on thenewscenter.com.
Okay.
If you don't have, do you have any other?
Yeah, I have gna.org.gh. Most of the stories are from Friday's memorial service, interdenominational service of the 8 helicopter crash victims. A few other stories. Let's tackle social cultural norms, structural barriers to promote equality. Brutal anti-galamsey operations at Bonte, so DCE calls for calm. We saw that trending video on Friday of police and purported illegal miners in a shootout. Helicopter crash, President Mahama thanks world leaders for solidarity. Those are some of the stories you'll find on GNA.
On the international scene, we all know President Putin and President Donald Trump have met, and some very topical global issues came to the fore. Particularly, the ongoing Russia invasion of Ukraine was discussed amidst other very important international issues. Now, the BBC is reporting Trump's ceasefire pivot will cause dismay in Kiev and in Europe. Also here, Russia complicating end to war. Zelensky says as Trump pursues peace deal. Also here, malnourished Gazan woman flown to Italy dies in hospital. Wow, malnourished Gazan woman flown to Italy dies in hospital. Moving on to some other story. Trump posted a photo of me sitting by my tent. Then a bulldozer arrived. And it speaks, or this is a report with regards to, some homelessness crisis in the U.S. Serbia ruling party offices set on fire in protest. And finally here, flash floods kill more than 300 in Pakistan. And So the administered Kashmir has been speaking on this flash flood and U.S. halt visitor visas used for medical trips from Gaza. And these are some of the big stories on the BBC.com. Okay,
a good time to delve into some of the stories. The first story you'll find on ChannelOne News Online when you open the portal, GPRTU threatens nationwide strike August 20 over Pokwase in Sawam Road. A bit of that story. The GPRTU has issued a strong warning to the government, vowing to withdraw all transport services nationwide if urgent repairs are not carried out on the Pokwase in Sawam Road by Wednesday, August 20, 2025. Speaking on the ChannelOne newsroom on Saturday, the National Deputy Public Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Samuel Amwa, said their decision follows what he described as failed promises by the roads minister regarding repair works on the severely damaged stretch. He stressed that transport operators are no longer interested in assurances without visible action. The GPRTU, together with the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and other transport groups, issued a joint statement on August 14 describing the condition of the Pokwase-Nsawam Road as deplorable and dangerous. They said the poor state of the road has increased vehicle wear and tear, raised operational costs, and posed risks to drivers, commuters, and residents along the route. The stretch, a major artery linking Greater Accra to the eastern, Ashanti, and northern parts of Ghana, is also vital to national trade and movement. The transport unions are calling on all affected road users, including commuters and residents, to support the strike if government fails to act by the set deadline. Authorities are yet to publicly respond to the latest threats. I remember they had threatened. Okay, those were residents who had threatened to demonstrate, and there weren't a lot of them. But this one, they seem very ready to demonstrate because it's affecting their vehicles, it's affecting their movement. I don't know if you've been on that stretch recently.
It's a death trap.
Terrible. By the time you move from Pokwase and get to Nsawam, your vehicle has to undergo reconstruction and change bolts and pads and things. It's crazy.
A vehicle that's
very low.
I use you probably you drown. You drown in the stagnant muddy water.
Yeah. Government did make promises to them that they'd fix a portion so that they can use that portion while they construct the road. For the life of me, I don't understand why road construction in Ghana has to take years. I mean, with modern technology and all the advancement in road construction, there's no way that a major road construction timeline can be reduced.
When you went to the caravan, I interviewed the resident consultant on that
specific stretch.
Yeah.
I remember watching and I was like, oh, I wish I were in the studio with you.
Yeah. And when he came to the I was inundated with messages from all angles. Everybody was just sending messages into the show. And I'm like, whoa, all of you people who watch the show, and I never hear of you until I start discussing this show. For me, it spoke to the challenges around the inconveniences people face on the stretch. And you're right, with modern technology and with the kind of advancements we've seen in infrastructure, we should not be witnessing this.
At all.
And I believe strongly that it also speaks to the lack of political will, on the part of government, particularly the previous administration, to fix this problem. We've had the Minister for Government now, for the road sector, Government Sagboja, go there. We've seen him go there together with his deputy, Alasan Suini, and make assurances, right? Considering the kind of inconvenience the road poses, I was thinking that up until this point, some active work would have started. But it's the same usual, so I really hope that government is really committed. Beyond the words, they are very minded, about the state of affairs.
On Friday, we spoke to them on Eyewitness, and Sanders said, have they informed the police? They said, forward. He said they are using the cars that they have used their own money to buy themselves. Senator says yes, but so that the they have to inform the police so that their leaders are not arrested for causing a public nuisance.
I mean, if you're a police officer and you live
around there, this
sure
is your chance.
In your heart of hearts, you even support the protest,
Yes,
I mean,
because to get to the office from there is
but of course, it's important
crazy.
that
they inform the police.
Yes. Done.
He said that they are ready to be arrested.
Law-abiding.
They said they are ready to be arrested so that it can show that they are fighting for a good cause and they are serious about it. But Sanda asked them to do the right thing. He said you don't need the police's permission, but just inform them because it's in our law.
And that's what the Public Order Act says.
Yes.
So a lot of the time, people
it'll be interesting to
confuse
see how it's going to.
People
the
confuse it
demonstration
to
is
say
going to be
you
like
need police permission to go on a
No.
protest. No, it's a right you have. It's a civic, right.
Right.
So you don't need police permission.
Them.
You just need to inform them.
Yeah.
So if they need to make some arrangements for traffic regulations and all that, they can do that. 3 Chinese nationals arrested for galamsey at Achim Abam, story by Neil Ni Kanaku. Except read, the Kwai Bibrim Municipal Security Council has arrested 3 Chinese nationals for engaging in illegal mining activities. Citynushum.com is reporting. And it goes on to say 2 excavators which were being used by the illegal miners have been impounded by the anti-galamsey team by the Kwai Bibrim Municipal Chief Executive Emmanuel Kofi T and the Municipal Police Commander ASP Baliko Bernard. Addressing the media after the arrest, indicated that the team is on the manhunt of some locals who managed to escape during the swoop. So these are the big stories, or these are a developing story with regards to the galamsey fight, which has come to the fore of national discussion again, following the really tragic death of some 8 gallant compatriots who died in line of duty. And we know, as a matter of fact, that they died when they were on their way to a galamsey-related event, right? So hopefully we see a renewed sense of commitment on the part of our national leaders in addressing this menace once and for all. A problem, many have said that, would lead to our death, all of us, our death eventually, if we don't fight. Because the very water we drink for survival it's been contaminated.
It's affected.
Our foodstuffs.
Yeah.
And we've seen babies being born with deformities. Some of them are being born with 3 legs. So it's terrible. If you see some of the graphics of the deformities in babies, so we urge government, let's not relent, in the fight against galamsey.
Like I say, they shouldn't let the death of the 8 be for nothing.
Absolutely.
Simply put. Tema set for 3,000 new LED streetlights to boost security.
I'm excited about the story.
I'm going to read a small bit and then segue into Greater Accra region, which is still dark, by the way.
Please do.
The mayor of Tema, Ibi Bright, has announced plans by the government to install 3,000 LED streetlights across the municipality as part of efforts to improve visibility, enhance security, and tackle theft of public infrastructure. And she made the announcement during a Deba, blah, 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 etc. I'm happy for Tema, but what happens to Accra and the promise that we had from the Greater Accra Regional Minister? You were there. She gave you a date, a deadline. And we spoke to her on the show after the deadline had elapsed. And she told us that 90% of Accra streetlights had been fixed. You and I used the N1 on Thursday. Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the route you used, or even the circle route, if that's the one you use. It's dark.
I use the N1 actually.
It's dark. Achimota is dark. So which of the routes is the 90% that she was talking about? Because there are no lights. Accra is dark. There's no visibility. The road markings are non-existent. So as you're driving, it's only God who carries you, or your recall of the routes that you're driving on.
Yeah.
Now that the funeral is done, don't worry, we'll have time for the Greater Accra Regional Minister. She needs to give us answers.
Roads is by memory.
Oh yes.
You have to memorize especially at night. But, you know, and I don't even want to hold brief for the minister, but you get a sense that if a government, you know, within 8 years couldn't effectively deal with the street lights problem, right, in the capital especially, I was struggling to see how she was going to do it in 100 days. What we saw was that at some
we didn't force her to make that promise to us.
Exactly. Nobody, exactly the point I was going to make. Nobody held a gun to her head to say, come and say this to us. And if you look at the circumstances under which she said it, nobody even asked there, you know. And I was at that event where she made that promise. In fact, I later posed the question to ask her about timelines, and she said that within 100 days and all of that. My point is that, see, she came out and did a few on some major roads, right? So, for example, the Independence Avenue, the road in front of the Jubilee House, going all the way to 37 and Legon, you know, street lights were fixed there. I think she did it on the Gifford Road as well. She did it on, I think, the major Mahama bypass, which is still working. But it is not enough. You know, there are other areas that are still very dark. So I asked her about Tema, and I think that was a former colleague who asked her about the Tema motorway and all of that. And she said that, oh, it didn't fall under her purview and the motorway was under construction and all of that. My point is that, see, we need a lot more leadership, you know, and we understand that the Energy Commission has a role to play. There's local assemblies have a role to play. The Energy Ministry have a role to play in terms of keeping the street lights on. But because the responsibility has been sort of distributed among these agencies, you are not seeing a clear show of leadership. So if the lights are off a certain part and you go to the local assembly, they'll say, oh, Energy Commission is responsible for keeping the lights on at this point. You are only supposed to provide. After providing, Energy Commission needs to keep it on. So that lacuna in leadership has made it difficult to track the progress with regards to keeping the lights on. So going forward, beyond providing the street lights, and we know members of parliament, they added to their campaign promises, we are going to put street lights on the stretch and all of that. So there's that missing leadership gap in terms of who is precisely responsible for keeping the lights on. So I think we need some form of legislation clearly spelled out, clearly stated, you know, pointing to who is ultimately responsible for ensuring that these lights are on, beyond just providing the street lights is the easiest part of the job. It's a procurement, in fact, they're even happy to do it because they'll get
some small things on the side.
I didn't say.
I said.
You know, so beyond the procurement aspect, the bigger part of the job, or the more difficult aspect of the job, is keeping the lights on. And we need clearly stated out rules on whose responsibility it is. You know, we don't want to hear, oh, Energy Ministry is partly responsible, Energy Commission is partly responsible. In fact, they even add ECG. They say ECG is also partly responsible.
We pay 1% on our electricity bill for street lights. I just needed to mention that. Okay.
So we need, you know, they should tell us in law who is ultimately responsible so that we can hold that person to account. And I think it would make the accountability aspect of it easier for all of us. And I'm sure it will also help in seeing an improved lightning, you know, on our streets, you know. You
have any more stories, or should I bring the Mpox?
Please read the Mpox for us. It is very serious.
So the Ghana Health Service has confirmed 37 new cases of Mpox, bringing the total number of infections nationwide to 409 as of August 14, 2025. Currently, 2 patients remain on admission, while the death toll stands at 1. Mpox is a viral disease and it spreads through close contact with infected individuals, animals, or contaminated materials. Symptoms include fever, rash, swollen lymph nodes, muscle aches, back pain, headaches, and fatigue. Health officials are urging the public to adhere to preventive measures such as frequent hand washing, avoiding close contact with individuals showing unexplained rashes, and promptly reporting suspected cases to the nearest health facility. The GHS has also intensified surveillance and public education across the country to curb further spread of the virus. I think we need a breakdown of where exactly the cases are being confirmed. I know they are spread across several regions in the country, but it seems we're not going down in numbers. it keeps increasing. So they need to do more public education, as they have said, and concentrate on I don't think you've seen it before. So 37 new confirmed cases, 409 total confirmed, 1 death, and 2 on admission.
And we hope that government is committed to working, very tediously to ensure that we nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
Because we can't afford another health crisis on our hand, as if COVID didn't do us enough damage already, with regards to deaths and even how significantly affected our economy. So please, let's find a solution to this. I trust in the leadership of Mr. Kando and Professor Grace Dankwa. That's her name, right? The Isikado Ketan MP, Deputy Minister for Health.
Yeah.
I think so far Mr. Kando has shown a lot of leadership in the role, and I hope and I know that he's working to address this efficiently. The last story I want to bring you is an international story, and this is in relation to the Ukraine war. We know President Putin, president of Russia, met with Trump in Alaska, and conversations around the war, took place. We also know that the war is partly to blame for some of the economic, downturn we saw in the country, at least according to the previous administration, because we were told that it affected our economy in some way. The big headline reads, Trump's ceasefire pivot will cause dismay in Kiev and in Europe. Story by Paul Adams, who's the BBC diplomatic correspondent. Now, this story comes with a photograph of President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and US President Donald Trump. So it reads, no deal in Alaska. It was always the most likely, and in the absence of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, perhaps the most desirable outcome. But US President Donald Trump's pivot away from the need for an immediate ceasefire, which he said beforehand he wanted, will have caused profound dismay in Kiev and around Europe. Russia's position has been that a ceasefire can only come in the context of a comprehensive settlement taking account of Russia's interest and inevitably implies Ukraine's capitulation. That's the position that Trump once again appears to have endorsed. It goes on to say not only that, but it's been widely reported that Russia's demands include the withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from areas of the eastern Donbass not currently held by Russia in exchange for a willingness to freeze the lines further south in Zaporizhia and Kherson. And it goes on to explain into detail some demands both countries, have made with regards to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and calls for peace, even as the world, reels from the after effects of this war. So if you're interested in this and more, you can go to the bbc.com and read for yourself. Yeah, it's been a very difficult weekend, and on that note, we'll take a quick break. When we are back, there's a lot more right here